Hi, Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all the panel and judges. My name is Melinda Nobesari binti Imam Rifai, and today I will present about my project, which is an investigation of methyl ammonium lead iodide as absorbing layer in perovskite solar cell. Okay, first of all, let's proceed to introduction. Solar energy is energy from the sun that is converted into thermal or electrical energy. A solar cell, or also known as photovoltaic cell, is an electrical device that uses the photovoltaic effect to convert light energy directly into electricity. Solar cell is divided into 3 generations. Perovskite solar cells is located at the 3rd generation, and these perovskite solar cells have been widely promoted as a cost-effective and environment-friendly alternative to conventional solar cell technologies. However, the perovskite need to be fabricated in an inert environment condition like nitrogen-filled glove box due to its low stability. Therefore, this project proposed a room temperature synthesis method called the two-step spin coat method to synthesize the methyl ammonium lead iodide perovskite. There are 3 main objectives in this project, which is the first one is to simulate the effects of different absorber layers on the power conversion efficiency of perovskite solar cells using GPVDM software. The second one is to synthesize the methyl ammonium lead iodide perovskite using a room temperature synthesis method called a two-step spin coat. And the third one is to characterize the properties of the perovskite layer by examining its structure, crystallographic, and optical properties. This is the perovskite solar cells layer configuration employed in this simulation. Consists of 5 layers, which are FTO, HTM, perovskite, ETM, and methane. The HTM that used in the simulation is P.SS, meanwhile the ETM is zinc oxide. The simulation starts with very 4 types of perovskites, which are cesium lead iodide, methyl ammonium lead iodide, methyl ammonium tin iodide, and methyl ammonium lead. So we fix the other layers and we vary the perovskite. So we run. As we can see from the output, we can have the result for JV curve, IV curve, and we also know the other value at SIMInfo.net, which are VOC, JSC, fill factor, and power conversion efficiency.
The simulation continues with change the thickness of the perovskite until 900 nanometer for all the 4 types of perovskite, and then the data is collected for every perovskite to see which perovskite have the highest efficiency, and then we proceed to the next steps, which are we continue with changing the P.SS into nickel oxide. Before that, we need to change the electrical parameters for every materials based on the journal that we have read. This is the summary of the electrical parameters that is used in this simulation. The maximum PCE is methyl ammonium lead iodide perovskite with 25.6% at thickness of 500 nanometer. The methyl ammonium lead shows the lowest PCE with a minimum value of 9.03% at thickness 200 nanometer and a maximum value of 20% at thickness 700 nanometer. At the right side of the slide shows the JAC curve of the perovskite. The simulation continues with choosing the best perovskite layers with the highest efficiency for changing the HTL, which is methyl ammonium lead iodide. As default, inverted perovskite solar cells use P.SS as HTL, a classic HTL that was being phased out in favor of more excellent work function in organic metal oxides like nickel oxide. The new PCS layer consists of FTO, nickel oxide, methyl ammonium lead iodide, zinc oxide, and silver. The highest PCE for the new formation layers is 27.99% at layer 500 nanometers. This shows that nickel oxide is better than P.SS as HTM. Since the base layer of perovskite is 500 nanometer, the HTM is varied with many types of nickel oxide. The result shows that nickel oxide doped with gold is the best HTM with high efficiency of 29%. Firstly, we need to weigh the lead iodide and methyl ammonium iodide. Next, dissolve lead iodide in DMF and dissolve methyl ammonium iodide in IPA. Stir both solution for 3 hours. Both of the solution need to be kept for 24 hours in room temperature. Before deposit process, the lead iodide solution need to be heated until it completely dissolves. Furthermore, the glass substrate need to be heated at a temperature of 100 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes. Then, the hot lead iodide solution was dropped on the hot glass substrate and spin cooled at 4000 rpm for 40 seconds immediately. The glass of lead iodide thin film was then dried for 10 minutes at 80 degrees Celsius on a hot plate. The MAI solution was dropped on the lead iodide thin film to form perovskite. Then, spin the perovskite film at 4000 rpm for 40 seconds. Finally, the thin film is dried at 100 degrees Celsius for 10 minutes on a hot plate. After a week, the sample color fully turned to yellow, providing a feedback of the occurred transition to PbI2. The degradation occurs is because of the contact with moisture and thermal stability. There are totally 8 samples to be analyzed, which is 4 samples after keep for 1 day and 4 samples after keep for 2 days. Besides, the sample also vary at directly heated after deposit PbI2 or not. This is the result for XRD analysis. In general, XRD is an effective tool to determine the surface crystallinity by changing the incident angle of X-ray. To confirm the formation of methyl ammonium lead iodide perovskite, the XRD measurements were taken on the synthesis methyl ammonium lead iodide thin film. This is the result of the sample after keep for 1 day. As we can see at the right side of the slide, this is the XRD results for perovskite taken from a journal. If we make a comparison for DMS and DMSO for indirect and direct with the graph from the journal, we can see that the principal peak of methyl ammonium lead iodide at 2 theta of 14.08 degree, which is 110, 28.37, which is 220, and 31.81 degree, which is 310. These 3 peaks confirm the complete formation of methyl ammonium lead iodide perovskite film prepared using the 2-step method described before. Meanwhile, for DMF indirect and direct, there are only 2 peaks of methyl ammonium lead iodide at 2 theta, which is at 14.08, which is 110, and 28.37 degree, which is 220. And also, the perovskite films is not very crystalline since it has high purity with signature of PbI2 visible in the XRD data. This is the analysis for sample after keep for 2 days. As we can see from all the graph, there is a signature of PbI2 visible in the XRD data with the highest peak at the front of the graph with 001. Therefore, this shows that the sample is already degraded and become PbI2 thin film. Next, the UV-Vis analysis is used to measure the absorbance of the sample. As we can see from the graph, the DMF plus DMSO direct have the highest absorbance among the others. It is follows with DMF direct, DMF plus DMSO indirect, and DMF indirect. If we make a comparison between UV-Vis analysis with the graph from the journal, we can say that it is exactly the same. For the sample after 2 days, we can see that the graph of UV analysis is not the same as the journal. There is no absorption peak observed as the sample is already degraded. In terms of sustainability, solar energy is a renewable free source of sustainable and inexhaustible energy. It is also a non-polluting source of energy and environmentally friendly. All the chemicals were also disposed in a proper way. Liquid chemicals are never disposed in the trash or in the sink. As a conclusion, the perovskite thin films are successfully synthesized by using DMF plus DMSO solution instead of DMF only. DMF is more suitable for materials containing Br like lead bromide. Lead iodide also will dissolve better when combined with MAI. That's all from me. Thank you.